Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity, and this is going to be an extremely special commentary. This is, I do believe, the first StarCraft 2 commentary on YouTube. Not sure about that, and I have no way to prove it, but nevertheless, hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to try to do it from a mostly neophyte perspective. First of all, we're all new coming into StarCraft 2, but additionally for all the StarCraft 1 references, I'll try to explain everything in depth for you guys. First of all, speaking of StarCraft 2, I guess we'll start here. David Kim, 6 o'clock position is the Blue Zerg, the best StarCraft 2 player in the world currently, definitively. Every single match that's been televised out of Blizzard or released to the public on the internet, etc., David Kim has not only won, but he's completely dominated. He's done all the playtesting for Blizzard. He's an absolutely amazing player, and really, I wanted to say, hey, there's no standard play yet because no one knows what's going on. This is his first-person view. Isn't that a great observer feature? I'm loving this. But really, he's the guy who knows what the standard play is beyond everybody else because he's done the practice, he's done all the play testing, he's given all the suggestions. He's the man. I actually had a friend who was at the top of his individual beta bracket on whichever ladder, I'm not sure which ladder he was on, and David Kim came in and basically stomped him 4 times in a row pretty harshly. So yeah, this is the guy to beat. This is the boss of StarCraft 2. And while he has a lot of experience behind him and where he is kind of everything going for him, he is going up against Nony, and Nony has a legacy. Nony was an extremely good StarCraft 1 Protoss player. In fact, currently he's in a competition, I think arguably the favorite to win the TSL Star League. A little bit redundant there, but he just knocked out the person who was the favorite. I think people are expecting him to take it now. And really his MO is not just having strong build orders, but really understanding how they worked. And I know that he did a little bit of work with the beta. I'm not quite sure how much work he's done or how much experience he's had, but I think the majority of his time has been devoted to StarCraft 1 rather than StarCraft 2, so I know he's not going to have the same degree of playtime that David Kim has had. But nevertheless, I expect a really good fight. And if anyone can beat him, hey, maybe Nony can. Looks like he is opening up with a gateway to start. He's also putting pylons that northern corner, and he's hitting these, you can see that chrono boost to on his Nexus to build probes a little bit faster. If you guys are unfamiliar with the map, this is Lost Temple. It's just like the original StarCraft version. I think this high ground is going to be the big factor on this map, and that's going to give an advantage to Nony because Protoss has a lot of units, well, a couple units that very quickly can get up to that high ground. You can either use Stalkers or Blink, or you can use Colossus to follow, and they can really exploit that high ground versus Zerg, where they don't really have high ground access until either Mutalisks or until they decide to go with Nidus Worms, which are a little bit later down the line. Additionally, on Lost Temple, bottom right-hand corner, you have the island expansion, upper left-hand corner, same thing. And in front of these island expansions, a little bit of a shift from the original destructible rocks blocking off a high-yield expansion. Looks like David Kim has opened up with a fast expansion, and I would like to say, hey, this puts them even economically, but I honestly don't know. I almost feel like Zerg off 2 bases is a little bit stronger than Protoss off 1 base at this stage, especially with the way production works in StarCraft 2 because of a lot of the new features, like the warp gates, like the arms, I think it's the arms lab, where you can produce 2 Marines out of a single barracks rapidly, like spawn larva with the Queen, a lot of kind of utility things like that. Basically the delay between getting an economic advantage by placing a second hatchery versus when that kicks in, it's a lot shorter than the original StarCraft. So you can produce a lot of units very quickly as soon as you have the minerals available to you. And I feel like as a result, having an economic advantage is just all the more powerful. Looks like Nony's already brought some Zealots out as long as a probe. Looks like he's a little bit outnumbered here and is very likely going to end up losing these troops. About 8 Zerglings popping out. That is going to keep David Kim from building some drones, keep in mind, because he's producing Zerglings instead of drones, but Nony's going to end up losing Zealots to start, and unfortunately I think he's going to end up losing probably the scouting advantage as well. At this stage it would take an Overlord some time to get up there to provide any additional scouting, and by then it might be exposed to Stalkers, things like that. Looks like David Kim also using these Zelnaga watchtowers to try to keep an eye on scouting units that are coming away. But in the meantime, you've got these Zerglings with a little bit of health. They're going to be able to wander up into Nony's main, and Nony's just not going to have enough to block it off. He's only got a single Zealot where he really needs 2 Zealots to kind of defend this, and he's going to be able to, looks like, kill 1 Zergling with that single swipe, but he's not going to be able to stop that second Zergling from wandering in and seeing his tech. And it looks like Nony going up to 2 gateways and using the robotics facility. And looks like, yeah, with that robotics facility, he can do a lot of things with that. First of all, he can get an observer out in the field, keep an eye on what David Kim's doing, and I think he will end up doing that just because from what I know of Nony, he likes having information, he likes knowing what his opponent's up to. He tends to be, they say, safe, but he's definitely one of those safe players who likes reacting specifically to what his opponent's doing rather than yeah, just kind of exploiting what they're up to, exploiting weaknesses in their build, rather than trying to have people react to what he's doing. It ultimately ends up that way, but nevertheless, I think he likes letting his opponent make the first move, and I think he's going to try to follow that up with Colossus once he gets down the robotics bay. And from there, he'll be able to use this high ground to exploit it. And I think his best bet will be to support that with Stalkers. Either way, I think the best bet for David Kim looks like he's already got a Roach Warren. He's now upgrading to Lair here, and I think he needs to get Mutalisks as soon as possible to reduce the effectiveness of that high ground. And especially against Colossus, the Mutalisks are very, very powerful. Looks like he already has some Roaches that are approaching out in the field, engaging these Zealots. Roaches are very powerful units against Zealots. First of all, they do additional biological damage, and because they regenerate so fast, it becomes very difficult for Zealots to engage them. It doesn't look like David Kim has Burrow, but they can keep retreating and regenerating very rapidly as long as they're not getting hit. Especially, looks like David Kim doing a pretty good job microing. He's already taken out one Zealot. Nony's going to have a hard time microing against this, essentially, because David Kim can keep using these in combination. Looks like he's throwing in the Zerglings as well, and Nony's got to keep chasing them. He needs to keep